This fabulous Friday, the Admiral William Stubblefield doing a solo job.
Good morning, Rob. Good to be here. Yale Scrap somewhere in Nebraska, herding beef, herding cows, I understand. So
I think he's doing authoring stuff.
Oh, is that right? I thought he was herding cattle.
No.
I misunderstood.
No, yeah, you got that wrong. You just heard he was shoving bull, and then you thought
I did. Exactly right, Rob. Thanks for framing it for me.
He was shoveling a different kind of bull out there at his author's thing. Yeah, people get that stuff confused all the time.
Yeah. And I should have realized, but I didn't. I just John is so good at shoveling bull, and I thought that's kind of prodding bulls is the same thing, but nope.
Well, fortunately for you, not only do I speak fluent Stubblefieldese, I also can translate Gilstrap.
Yeah, you can. But we're not totally lost today, Rob.
No, we never are.
Our guest today also is pretty good at shoveling bull.
And by the way, this flu thing, or this stomach thing, whatever it is, I guess when you have a stomach and you're throwing up and whatever, that's not technically the flu. There's no such thing as a stomach flu. Yeah. It's a virus. But whatever this is, it's going around. It's claimed another member of our cast today, too. More on that after the break at 8:31. Let's welcome in the mayor of the city of Martinsburg, Kevin Knowles, old Nux himself. Good morning, Knowlesy. How you doing?
Good morning. And speaking of bull, here you go, Bill. I can't say enough for Bill and yourself for what you do here for the community, for this radio station. And if you want to take that as bull, go be it. But
Bill asked for it.
Yeah, that was your request.
Yeah, you did not have to say it was
until you put that bull in there.
Yeah, you did not have to use the bull in conjunction with that. You were doing so well, Kevin, for a while.
Well, you guys do a great job. I really do appreciate what you do. Let the community know what's going on within the area and the state. So I don't think it's said enough. So I'm gonna say it for the last time. Thank you.
Bill, before the show, prodded Kevin. You see, you don't say enough good stuff about us, Kevin. I need you to do that before the show. And so Kevin's fulfilling his obligation right now. We appreciate that obligation, brother.
I think I said that I do for Bill, but I don't for you.
Yeah. Either way.
So I'm going to be quiet the rest of the morning.
You did your job, Bill. You did well.
Job. I got Kevin started. Thanks, Kevin. You do a good job.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
Yeah, and you heard the open there from John Hardy in regards to this microgrid bill. And to this point, I'd really only thought about the effect on the counties because we had been speaking with John Hardy. We saw the comments of Eddie Gokenauer. Next week, members of the Jefferson County Commission will be on this program to talk about this. And I hadn't really thought about the effects on the city and the municipalities. Kevin, what does it, from your end, is there an effect on the cities here?
Well, it's my understanding that, that bill could affect any land, whether it be, being in the county, but also in a municipality. So if it comes within a municipality borderlines, then we'll be seeing the same effects that the counties are seeing, and those are huge issues for, especially a city that has, all cities have ordinances and zoning and licensing type requirements. So it's definitely something that will hurt.
Yeah, there's two aspects of this. One is the, for lack of a better word, the confiscation of local tax dollars that will now be going to a state government instead of the county or municipality. But the second part is that if this land is claimed by the state, all zoning regulations, ordinances are thrown out the window. So what would be concerning to me as a resident is if I own property adjacent to whatever it is that the state's going to be doing there, this could be potentially damaging to my property value, and now I've got no recourse.
Yeah, most definitely, and the city itself has no recourse.
And there's another part to this as well. And in Berkeley County, they will be getting their power from the existing grid. At least this first unit will be. If they build a second unit, they may have to look for another source. But in other parts of the state, not only are you inheriting a data center, you in all probability are inheriting a power generating station as well, because these are going to be coupled in a lot of instances. So you've lost control over what will, that not only the data center but the energy generating source as well.
Yeah, this is I think a concern of major proportions here for those two reasons. If you're trying to run a county and you're trying to be efficient with your tax dollars, you're losing revenue. But if you're a homeowner, a resident in the county or the city, and something gets plopped down beside you, especially in the city where there is zoning, maybe you bought exactly where you bought because of specific rules that would forbid something being beside you that you didn't want. And now this comes along and you've got no control over it.
Yeah, and for cities that have undeveloped land, that could be a big problem.
Is there much undeveloped land still in the city, Kevin?
I don't want to speak too loudly about that. but the answer would be yes. There is undeveloped land still within the city borders that it could affect if that were the case.
The county commissioners made a trip to Charleston. John Hardy talked about how they visited with many people, and they effectively got it from 0% up to 30, maybe 31%, with that extra 5% part that's attached to this. There too. Do you have a representative in Charleston in any way?
Well, we have the league, the municipal league takes care of all that. We have a lobbyist with them, and I'm on a call right after this at 8:30 to get some follow up with some of the other items that were discussed in different bills throughout the time that they've been down there.
But listening to the county commissioners from across the state, the last 2 or 3 days, some of the stations have had representatives from the various counties. It is breaking very neatly between those counties that have and those counties that do not have. Such as Berkeley County, we have a lot of resources coming in, and Eddie and John and others have voiced objection to this. The other counties, some of the other counties, do not have any resources, are eagerly awaiting these data centers, and they are very happy with 30%. They would like to have more, but they're very happy with 30%. So
because they were getting 0%.
They were
before.
getting zero at all, and they have very little resources coming in. So as far as the county association, and I assume it may be the same thing with municipalities, they're kind of split between what they have and what they don't have.
Well, and you know what, that really gets me. I don't understand. Sometimes they pass bills that will affect the whole state when in reality it's only for a small part of what it needs. I mean, look at locality pay. I mean, we're not getting anything like that, but yet they're going to take more money away from the education process by taking the revenues that they have. And one thing that I totally support 100% Berkeley County's position on this, and you know we've been working through it through the municipal league and trying to help out. But the bottom line is the state keeps picking away at the revenue sources, not only for municipalities but also for counties. And you know, we're the thriving ones within the state, and we should be supported, not be taken away from.
But at least the municipalities have a 1% that you can fall back on. The counties do not have that. The counties are really strapped for cash.
Yeah, and you're right. But that 1%, $5.5 million of that goes back into our general fund, so that's part of our budget. So it's not like we have money sitting around being able to spread around for things. And
I'm going to read a comment from Eric O'Rourke on our Facebook comment section. Once again, everything will be run through Charleston. That's never going to change. Any power or money the state gives up, they make you pay for it. His comment is, I think, spot on. It goes with a comment that Delegate Mike Height made on the show yesterday when he said in voting for this bill that if there is an objection, it'll go through the courts, and then the state Supreme Court will decide it, and that's fine. And that bothers me for the reason that we're just going to pass legislation and then we'll let the courts decide if it's legal or not. I don't like that way of governing, and I especially don't like it when people who run for office claiming Charleston has too much control, and Republicans have made this comment forever when they've been running for office, and now that they have the majority and a supermajority, we're seeing them do the same thing that they criticize Democrats for years, which is running all the revenue through Charleston once again. I don't see any difference in this bill with what Republicans criticize Democrats for doing for years.
Oh, and keep in mind, if it does go to litigation, what about the cost for the counties and the municipalities that have to go fight it? I mean, that's additional funding, additional revenue that they have to use or direct elsewhere.
Mentioning Mike Height, do you have any idea, Rob, how our local delegates, our local senators voted on this particular bill?
I do not.
Nor do I.
Yeah,
I'd be
I have to look
interested
that
to
up.
find out. Yeah.
I don't. It's not signed yet, is it?
It did go through the House,
Yeah, it's
overwhelmingly.
It's not signed by the governor yet. It's not law yet. But you may be represented by a conflicted association, Kevin, if municipalities in areas that don't have a lot of revenue figure 30% of something's better than the 100% of nothing I'm getting right now. Would you defer to your association if they said we're not going to bring suit over this because not enough of our members want it? Would you go on your own if you had to?
Well, that would have to be something that we would look at because, again, we're not in that situation
Yet.
And we're not, we don't anticipate that happening with the growth that we're seeing with the developments within the city. So if that were something that popped up and I didn't get the support from the municipal league, then yes, we would probably look at it ourselves.
Except for bypassing your regulations and ordinances, what grounds would you petition the courts?
Well, now you're asking legal questions, Bill. And although I could bull a little bit, I can't bull that.
I can see the regulation and ordinances being very clear cut. Having the money go to Charleston, we do that on other things as well. We do it on income tax, for example. We do it for a lot of our personal property tax, not all of it, but a lot of it. So to me, this is a more difficult ground to justify than the ordinance and regulations.
Yeah, I mean, in the city,
but I'm sympathetic with them. I'd be sympathetic with the county for trying to do it.
Yeah,
so,
city, they wouldn't need a license, they wouldn't need permits, and they wouldn't have to pay any different revenues or taxes to make that building. And I don't know how it affects any inspections. Less than or not,
Before we run out of time, I understand you recently got an update about a grant you would be waiting for some of the trails.
Well, I was down in Orange Beach, Alabama, for a Southern Municipal Conference, and they had a representative from the federal government, and they were talking a lot of concerns with the mayors that represent the different states down there. Was that what's going on with the grants that we were already granted back in 2024, and the answer was that when the new administration came in, they threw out a wide net, and they took everything in, and they believe, the person that talked to us, and whether he was talking to the audience or not, he believes that those items or those grants that were awarded already will eventually come out. But we have not heard anything as of this point, and we've also put some communication out to Senator Capito's office through Chris Strovel to see if we could get some updates, whether yay or nay. I mean, one way or another, we have to move forward, whether it's with starting that on our own in pieces or not, because if that grant had been, if we were going through the regular process of that grant, we would have probably been breaking ground here in June or July. And right now we haven't even had a meeting about it to sign agreements.
No communication, basically, other than the promise that it probably will come through at some point.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Now, Kevin, at the conference, you got some personal recognition, did you not?
Well, I represent the West Virginia Municipal League. I represent the mayors and elected officials in the state of West Virginia, and I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but they voted me in as vice chair for the Southern Municipal Conference, and that's the first time anybody from West Virginia has held any office within that organization.
Congrats.
So I'm excited. The people that I've met down there over the years, I've been part of it now for 3 years, and they you get to meet all different types of municipalities, more on a level of your own, not necessarily like the National League of Cities where you have the big cities. These cities are 50,000 or less, so we're listening to a problem that might be happening in Arkansas that we were able to work on here in West Virginia to give them some solutions or some tools to go back, and vice versa. So it's great to get back and see that. I don't know if it's good that we all have the same problems, but some people have found ways to rectify that or move forward with it, and they're able to share that, which is exciting on my part.
So the value is in the networking more so than
Yes.
do you have any regulatory authority?
No, I just have to identify.
No. I'm talking about the Southern Municipality Conference.
No, there's no regulatory, but we do have like the municipal league and the county leagues. We do have the ability to send our letters and our support or non-support of something.
Was last night your final budget meeting at the city council?
Last night was not a budget meeting. Last night we did have some budget revisions from the 2024-25 budget, last year's budget. And, being that we took a look at it because there were some things in the current budget for 25-26 that we weren't able to fund. So thanks to Andy Blake and his team going back and seeing where we're at with our budget at this point to see if some of those one-time purchases could be taking place now rather than waiting for later. He was able to see that, there was positions that were funded that were not filled. There was items that had either lower expenses that we're able to look at so that we can go out into our different departments and make those one-time expenditures, like police vehicles. We needed to get a floor scrubber for the train station. The fire station needs some updates, so there was things for that, and the court needed some new computers, and so that was what we pretty much did last night. I made a few appointments to some of our commissions, and it was a very basic meeting last night. But our budget has already been sent in to the state, so that's why it makes it difficult for us that if on the state level they start taking away revenue, whether it be from the city or county, we've already put our budgets in for next year. And if we're losing revenue, then our budgets are thrown off a little bit.
What about parking garages? Has that still been discussed?
Always in my head. I don't know if it ever gets outside. I don't know if it gets in anybody else's ears. Yeah. But that being said, that there was someone that approached me yesterday to talk about. I guess they've done other projects for parking garages, and I'm going to sit down and listen to what they have to say, but we've not moved anything forward on that. Love to, Bill.
Yeah.
That's no bull.
Yeah, that's no bull. I think that having parking garages are good, but from my personal exposure or personal experience, I don't see it as overwhelming need. I've rarely not been able to find a place to park in Martinsburg.
Well, and then that seems to be the biting point from people on the other side. But yet, I just came off of a weekend with the home show, and we broke a record down there. We went over 6,000 people for the weekend. And, by the time it was like 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock on Saturday, I took a ride through town and every spot was taken. Mm-hmm. So if you were to have another event, whether it be at the Apollo or down on Main Street, whatever it might be, then you run into a problem, I don't want to say build it and it will come, but, we've been talking about it. It's been talked about, at least out of my lips, it's been talked about since 2008. But again, it is expensive to build one, and if we could find a private-public partnership, it might be more feasible to take a look at it.
David Anderson's West Side Fire Station.
That's an answer that's a question that David has all the time, and that is always something that we're looking at. We're looking at some possible property. We don't have the property as of yet. We're working with a private developer that could possibly help us with that. But other than that, right now, I can't speak any more about it.
Is there anything else that was involved with the legislature that you were watching that would affect municipalities?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have, again, with the revenue, there's a bill, I think it's Senate Bill 933, I believe it might be, that they wanted to exempt certain businesses or certain occupations from B&O tax. And this all started again out of a complaint out of Bridgeport because the referees they were making money and their Bridgeport's making them pay B&O tax. I don't think I would not charge a referee for B&O tax, but and there's another bill that is for home base businesses that they're trying to put into that bill now to exempt them also. So people say, well, that's not a lot. Well, you know what? You keep chipping away, it does become a lot. I mean, we not too long ago they exempted the car dealerships, and
Yes.
here we are now exempting a few others. And let me make this very, very clear that I would be for anything to remove the B&O tax if they come up with some type of replacement. Those no discussions never happen. If we were to lose B&O tax within the city of Martinsburg, that is 26% of our general fund. 26%. So anybody that does business, if you take 26% away from your budget, what do? You start cutting back. Do people want to see Martinsburg go backwards the way it was a few years back, and we're moving forward real quick, real fast here now? So be it. But those are decisions we don't want to make, and we'd like to be able to continue to move forward in the direction that the city of Martinsburg going without the interference of the state or federal government.
Have you been able to reduce the B&O tax in any way since the advent of the additional sales tax point?
No. The answer would be no. We have not. We have not.
Was that not part of the original deal when the sales tax was approved?
Not at all. It was. We followed it by the letter of the law that when home rule came out.
If you eliminated the B&O tax, is there potential for the sales tax to grow enough locally to replace it?
Definitely not. To keep in mind that out of that same general fund, that the B&O taxes, we backfilled that with the sales tax, $5.5 million this year, and our sales taxes this year, and it's not a steady thing, it's about $7 million, and there's no way that would make up for it.
And what are the B&O tax revenues? Like you said, 25% of a 50-something odd $1 million budget, so about 12, 13, 14 million?
It's I would say it's more like out of the general fund is not the whole budget. The general fund is about 26, 28 million, so 25% of that.
About $6-7 million.
Yeah.
Right. Is there any additional room in the city to cut expenses without affecting services greatly?
Right now, we're operating with less people because our positions aren't filled. So the departments themselves are working very, very hard and very diligent to keep up with the work that they have with less help than they've had in the past. We also have a utility department, water and sewer that on the water side it takes care of itself, but on the sewer side we lose money. So thank God that both of those are in the same boat, and we got to watch our pennies.
Mayor, thank you so much for coming in. Always appreciated.
Well, thanks for having me.
See you in a few more Fridays.
No bull.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right.